This is Michael Popok for the Legal AF YouTube channel. Breaking news, Mayor Eric Adams in New York has been indicted federally by the Southern District of New York, federal prosecutors in Manhattan, apparently related to a kickback bribery scheme involving Mayor Adams, members of his administration and staff, the Turkish government, and other foreign governments to kick and channel money back to the Adams campaign in return for favors. There's been a lot of reporting. I'm going to try to sort it out on this hot take. The indictment, we don't know the charges yet, but we know he's been indicted. He's already taken to the airwaves and to profess his innocence and that he wants an immediate trial. But that hasn't stopped the Southern District of New York, one of the most proficient, talented, aggressive prosecutorial teams in the country, from saying that they've got an indictment. It's Mayor Adams, and let's connect the dots right here. There is at least 4 separate federal criminal investigations against Mayor Adams and people in his administration or staff that are going on simultaneously. 3 being run by the Southern District of New York. And 1 in particular is the one we think this indictment is going to be about, which is an elaborate kickback campaign, donation, kickback, and bribery scheme involving the Turkish government, the Turkish consulate, Mayor Adams, campaign contributions, and kickbacks to other controlled companies by the Turkish government, including construction companies. We'll call it the Turkish Adams bribery scandal, seems to be at the heart of this particular indictment, but we're going to have to keep track of all the other ones. In prior reporting, for instance, the New York Times said that it doesn't just involve Turkey, it involves Mayor Adams and his campaign's illicit relationships with Israel, China, Qatar, South Korea, and Uzbekistan. It looks like the blueprint for this corruption, at least as going to be alleged in the indictment, is that Mayor Adams would solicit large donations from these countries in return for a quid pro quo, for something in return, something, some favor from his administration, some approval. For instance, in the Turkish government, an approval of a consulate where the building department in New York said that there were building code violations, and Mayor Adams waved his hand in return for campaign contributions, being given first-class tickets on Turkish Airlines, being entertained and wined and dined in Istanbul. I mean, this is a mayor who basically campaigned on 2 things. He was going to bring back the highest level of ethics into City Hall in New York. That was one campaign promise. And the second was that he'd bring some swagger back to New York. He's known as the Playboy or nightclub president because rather than doing sort of the hard job of governing, he is often seen at exclusive nightclubs, including Gold Bond, owned by some, let's be frank, some sketchy people that are also part of the investigation. That's investigation number 1 by the Southern District of New York prosecutors. And that's the one we think the indictment is related to. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's related to a couple of other ones. Investigation number 2, also led by the Southern District of New York, is a bribery scheme involving people who are very, very close to the inner circle of Mayor Adams. And it's the Banks brothers, Terrence Banks, Philip Banks, and David Banks. Philip Banks, deputy mayor for public safety, David Banks, the chancellor of the school system, and Terrence Banks, their brother. There's an elaborate set of allegations and investigation related to them. I mean, we all knew that Adams was in trouble when about 10 months ago, coming out of an event as the mayor, his 2 cell phones, 2 laptops, and other electronics were all seized. And the home raided of one of his closest confidants, who was also his fundraiser at the time, Brianna Suggs. As soon as we always thought Suggs would sink Eric Adams as soon as we heard about this. And Brianna Suggs, a first-time fundraiser, seemed to have done some improper things in how she raised money for Eric Adams, and Eric Adams either purposely participated in them or turned a blind eye towards them. So we've got the Banks investigation, again, touching on Eric Adams. And then we've got the third of the 4 investigations swirling around City Hall. This one, another Southern District of New York, Manhattan prosecutors looking into the then police chief Ed Caban's brother, and Ed Caban's role in certain schemes involving nightclubs, also involving bribery and kickbacks. So you've got, there was a much fanfare about 6 months ago when Ed Caban took over as the New York police chief, a very illustrious position, and then he had to resign in disgrace when his phone got seized by the feds in an investigation involving his brother and nightclub shakedowns. So that's the third investigation. Then, just to send a signal to the Adams administration, in the last 10 days, the Southern District also seized the phone and raided the home of the replacement police chief. Are you following at home? Tom Donlin, who used to work for Homeland Security, he got raided by the feds and he had to step down because they claimed, I believe, that he took national defense information and top secret classified documents with him when he left the job. That was just a signal. So insiders believe that was just a signal by the feds that you're not safe, Eric Adams. We're coming for you next. I mean, they took down the police chief, the replacement police chief, the deputy mayor, the chancellor of the school board, your fundraiser, your inner circle, your aides. They either got arrested, searched, executed search warrants on, or had their phones seized. This is all within the last year, much of what I'm telling you within the last month. And then you've got the last investigation that's swirling out there by the Brooklyn federal district U.S. attorney, which is the Eastern District of New York, involving Winnie Greco, who is the Asian coordinator for Mayor Adams, now indicted, related to what else? Bribery, kickback, illegal campaign contributions, and donations. So you got a little bit of a turf war going on here. We believe the indictment is Manhattan, Southern District of New York, one of the three I've just identified, most likely the one involving Turkey. We'll know more about that tomorrow. I'll jump back on another hot take here on the Legal AF YouTube channel. What does it mean? Mayor Adams has said he's not going to resign. Others around him and in leadership positions have called for his resignation, including AOC has called for his resignation to do what's right for the city of New York. Governor Hochul, the governor of the state, has the right to remove Eric Adams without him being convicted. She could do it now. And sideline him. And I know that's what Eric Adams, who has a decent relationship with Governor Hochul, is hoping she does not do. And I'm sure there's lobbying going on and discussions going on right now between Eric Adams' lawyers or others and Governor Hochul's people to try to make sure that Governor Hochul doesn't take him out. But I think, based on how the groundswell of tomorrow and when we get our hands on that unsealed indictment of the allegations, we see whether it's a skeletal indictment or it's a speaking indictment with lots of detail, with lots of evidence. This could cook Eric Adams' goose tomorrow, and we could have Governor Hochul replacing him. Who will replace Eric Adams in New York? Get ready for this one. The person that really wants the job with the most name recognition, former Governor Andrew Cuomo. He's thrown his hat in the ring. He's basically thrown his hat in the ring. He's considered to be the odds-on favorite even before Eric Adams got embroiled in all of these scandals and now has been indicted. And we could see a very quick runoff, a very quick election involving former governor, disgraced governor, if you will, Andrew Cuomo, against a bunch of other people that are kind of known within the halls of power within New York, but nowhere else, who have run for office over and over again at the highest office and keep losing. If I were a betting person, I would say that Andrew Cuomo, who's relatively popular in New York, could take that mayoral race, especially with a disgraced Eric Adams being completely sidelined either by a conviction, a resignation, or a removal by Governor Hochul. We'll continue to follow it. You've reached the right place. Free subscribe to this new Legal AF YouTube channel. We're doing it in collaboration with the Midas Touch Network. We were built for just this kind of moment to bring to you in real time breaking news at the intersection of law and politics. So free subscribe to this channel. Help us get to 100,000 free subscribers in just 10 days before the end of the weekend. That's what we're trying to do here. This is the kind of content you should come to expect from Legal AF, the YouTube channel at Legal AF MTN. So until my next hot take, until my next breaking story, an update on this story about the indictment, historic indictment of the first sitting mayor of the city of New York in its history while he was still in office ever. This is Michael Popok, and I'm reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.